What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Sunday. Whew, man, heart rate was way higher than it should have been against the Chicago Bears. We're going to get into Philadelphia not only winning, the Dallas Cowboys losing. How about Doug Peterson pulling off the overtime upset, and why Philadelphia is 1 win away from locking up the number 1 seed. Let's go ahead and jump into all of that here. Quickly, though, again, as I mentioned, I've been on the road. I was skiing yesterday, and so we're just jumping on here real quick. I want to give you guys my thoughts on this game and give you guys everything you need to know regarding the Eagles and the NFL. Okay, 25-20. Ugly, close, and I think a lot of us tomorrow at the water cooler are going to tell all of our buddies, I told you, probably a trap game just due to the fact that obviously Philadelphia looking ahead to the Cowboy game next week. And so, are we really that surprised by this game? I, for one, wasn't. As soon as you saw this game, the way that it was going to go, Philadelphia took a couple of, drives to actually get into the end zone. You just knew it was not going to be easy, and sure enough, it actually wasn't. Now, a couple of quick thoughts here. Hurts, maybe his ugliest game. This might have been Jalen Hurts' worst game as an Eagle this entire year. The Washington game, where they lost, was also pretty darn bad, but these 2 interceptions were super duper ugly. And yet, with that being said, Jalen Hurts still had 61 yards on the ground. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground, and he had 315 yards passing, and only sacked once. I mean, he was fantastic. You take away those 2 interceptions, this is like an incredible performance. So the first big point is, if anyone wants to tell you this week, Hurts, MVP conversation really hurt this week. No, it didn't. No, that was an MVP performance. And you saw when the Eagle offense wasn't moving very well, it means Jalen Hurts wasn't playing very well, which shows you why he's the MVP, because you put another quarterback in there, and the offense doesn't do as well as what Jalen Hurts has been able to do. So looking really good in terms of Hurts and the MVP. He was really great in this game, and just goes to show why the Eagles are so darn special. They lose this game last year. They lose this game the past couple of years. They do not win these close, kind of scruffy, grinded out games over the course of the past 4 years, really, in Philadelphia. Yet this team is different. They get their 13th win overall. Now, there is criticism, right? And the criticism is really the running game as a whole. How do you only feed Miles Sanders the football 11 times? Like, seriously. And it was 6 minutes to go. I counted. 6 minutes to go in the second quarter before they actually gave the ball to Miles Sanders. That was insane in terms of what you're thinking about from a play calling perspective. I don't know if the whole scheme was like, hey, we saw in, practice this week and tape study that the Bears are vulnerable throwing the football, and they have been. Maybe that was it. But you can't just only throw until 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Sanders is too good. And I know that he didn't have, any sort of big carries. His longest was 18. This needs to be a much more balanced attack, and they need to make sure they keep Miles Sanders heavily involved next week when they play the Dallas Cowboys in what will be a division clinching game, a number 1 seed overall clinching game, as well as we will see. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, absolutely fantastic. How many times in the past, 4 years, have the Eagles hit on so many one-on-one deep balls? It's not something that they did. They never hit on these sort of things, yet they hit on 4 deep balls here. A.J. Brown had a 68-yarder. Devontae Smith had a 45-yarder. They keep hitting on these one-on-one opportunities, and it's why the Eagles are so darn dangerous. They're stagnant early on in this football game, and then suddenly Hurts, deep ball, perfectly thrown. All 3 of them were perfectly thrown, blows this game out of the water, and Philadelphia, just goes on a tear, especially during a couple of those, touchdown scoring runs. Really good job by them overall. Other positives, they did a good job on Justin Fields. And I know what you'll say, Thomas, Fields had 95 yards rushing. I know. But that's what Justin Fields does. He's a better runner than Jalen Hurts. overall, if you're going to take, one or the other as a runner, you would take Justin Fields, although I think Hurts runs smarter than Fields, if that's what you want to say. But Hurts obviously pulls away in terms of the passing game. You saw that here as, Fields, 14 of 21, $152. The second touchdown pass, the blown coverage, kind of ugly to see. You could tell the corners, Darius Slay, trying to jump these passes to get an interception. But overall, they did do a very good job in terms of the defense in this football game. A couple of times there, especially after the Sanders fumble, they were backed up, and we kind of expecting a touchdown to be scored there. So this was a good win. Again, multiple players with double-digit or multiple sacks in this game. Philadelphia, I think it was 6 overall. They are blowing away what they were doing last year. Last year they had 21 sacks. This year they're well over 40, pushing towards 50. I think be close to 60 by the end of the year. It's insane. So again, play calling was an issue again here. You saw that kind of rear its ugly head in the Washington game, but to put a bow on this win, I think this was the perfect game before going into the Dallas Cowboy game. Had Philadelphia blown out the Chicago Bears, I think we're riding a little too high into the Cowboy game. Not to say that we would overlook Dallas, but the confidence level would just be a little bit much on a Monday or a little bit much on a Tuesday of this week. Now, Nick Sirianni can get on these guys and say, hey, we almost lost to a 3-win Chicago Bear team. We almost lost to them. You cannot play the way you played today and and win next week, next Saturday at, Jerry World in Christmas Eve matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. You can't do it. And I think that's going to refocus Philadelphia, and I think that this is a perfect win if you want to be really glass half full, as I feel right now, to kind of, spur you on to a big victory, hopefully, against the Cowboys next week. Thumbs up, by the way. Just give the Eagles a thumbs up for finding a way to win. I know I was frustrated, trust me. Watching with my girlfriend today, she was talking about how frustrated I was, how stressed I was during this game, but they find a way to win. 13-1. They're 13-1. Hit the thumbs up button. A lot of great stuff coming up here on this show heading into Cowboy Week. It's Christmas week, but we're going to be working here for you guys to make sure you have plenty of great Eagle coverage because it is the biggest week of the entire year for the Eagles. Speaking of those darn Dallas Cowboys, where is that football game? Oh my goodness gracious. How about Doug Peterson gifting Philadelphia wins even when he's not on the Philadelphia Eagles? Doug Peterson really, I know he has a statue. He has the Philly Special statue, the Bud Light statue outside of Lincoln Financial Field. He really deserves his own. I mean, the guy's a legend, and I'm not bloviating here just because he beat the Dallas Cowboys, but the way they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas was up 21-7. This was basically a wrap at halftime, and yet, what do you know? Trevor Lawrence and company ball out on the Cowboy defense, and this is back-to-back weeks. The Cowboy defense is looking a little sus. Now, Dallas's defense has been kind of their, coup de grace the entire season. Oh, it's the best defense in the National Football League. That has kind of come back. Trevor Lawrence had 4 touchdowns, only sacked 1 time. Micah Parsons, again, back-to-back weeks being completely irrelevant. The running game, they rushed for 192 yards in the Dallas Cowboys today. That is insane. Now, Dak was really good in this football game until he wasn't, and that's the problem with Dak Prescott. I'm not a massive Dak hater. Obviously he's a Dallas Cowboy, and so I love whenever Dak struggles, but the mediocrity just fumes off of this guy, especially in clutch situations, and he can pop at any given time. He could ball out against Philadelphia this week. I'm not saying Dak's bad, but the 2 interceptions, had a really bad one there in the second half, and then, the overtime interception, not really his fault, but he just seems to kind of force the football these days, especially this year. He has a lot of interceptions, and it's really confusing why. The big question Philadelphia is going to have is getting to the quarterback, obviously, stopping Pollard, because Pollard is scary at times here, and CeeDee Lamb. I think this is going to be the James Bradbury, Darius Slay game on Saturday. I think they're going to have to really buckle the chin straps, put the clamps on CeeDee Lamb. If they do so, Philadelphia should win this game. Now, this is huge, though, and it's huge for one main reason. It means that even if the Eagles lose this next week, they still will have control of not only the NFC East and their own destiny for the number 1 overall seed. Now, you see here, the NFL.com, because I'm doing this show directly after the game, does not have the updated wins and losses here, but you see Philadelphia, they are 13-1, and Dallas is going to be 10-4, right? That's a 2.5 game difference in terms of overall loss column for Philadelphia. So even if they lose, they go to 13-2 next week, Cowboys go to 11-3, all the Eagles have to do is win one of their 2 remaining games against the Saints, and then the Giants, and they not only win the division, they lock up the number 1 overall seed. Had the Cowboys won today, that means they could have beaten Philadelphia next week and had a much easier chance to not only win the division, but send Philadelphia down to the 5 seed. The 1 seed to the 5 seed is really close right now in the NFC East, but the fact the Eagles won and the Cowboys lost in overtime is absolutely massive. I cannot express that enough for the Eagles' chances to get the number 1 overall seed. It essentially means if you win on Saturday, you will gift all Eagle fans the Christmas gift of a number 1 seed and the NFC East. And they can't officially lock it up in terms of the 1 seed. I think that, technically they got to win one more after that. But the NFC East can be yours for the having if you win on Saturday, giving it the game of the year. Fox is already billing that. The game of the Eagles, I mean, the biggest game in recent Eagle history. I can't think of a game that wasn't a playoff game as big as this one coming up on Saturday. I can absolutely not wait. Thumbs up if you guys agree. So, really, I mean, it was a good day, and the fact Philadelphia seemingly unscathed in terms of injuries, the fact they were able to grind out a big win, the fact they were able to look a little sloppy, maybe refocus themselves for the Cowboy game, and the fact that Cowboys lost today to the Jacksonville Jaguars are all great things for Philadelphia, and the Eagles continue to fly high and look good. We end with this thought. Don't let anybody tell you Jalen Hurts is not the NFL MVP. Seriously. I mean, this is up to you, because I defend him nonstop to my friends. I have a lot of idiot friends out there, and a lot of them hate the Philadelphia Eagles, so they all rip on Jalen Hurts any chance they get. Don't let anybody tell you Hurts is not the NFL MVP. He's locked it up. I know there are three games left. If he does anything even mediocre in a win against the Cowboys next week, it's officially over, and he will be the NFL MVP. And so thumbs up for that, and defend that, because that is 100% truth. And I know I wear the shirt. It's an Eagle hat right there. I get that I'm a homer, but I'm telling you, I think he's officially done it, and that is super exciting because Philly has not had one of those, I think, ever. I can't think of an NFL MVP that was an Eagle, because Carson Wentz should have won it, but I digress. Okay, I'm going to jump off here. Plenty more shows coming up this week. Subscribe, thumbs up. Just have a great rest of your Sunday night, just dreaming about beating the Cowboys for Christmas. Ask Santa. Make sure you've asked Santa to beat the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. That's all that matters going forward. I'm Thomas Mott. See you guys in the next one.